In this family, there's no time to lie down and saw logs.
Good afternoon. Logging equipment finance can be challenging, and there are many variables to consider, from time in business to the type of equipment that you need to understanding custom finance options. All of us here at Envision Capital Group are dedicated to making sure loggers get the best equipment for the right rate and term for their needs. Dan Lund here at Envision Capital Group is an expert at equipment financing, and I'm going to go upstairs and speak with him with regard to what loggers need to know to better understand equipment financing and their many options. And if you sell new or used logging equipment, be sure to speak with Dan about our proprietary vendor financing program called Vendor 360. We're very pleased to present this information, so let's go upstairs and talk with Dan. Hello everyone, my name is Wade Bergquist with Envision Capital Group, and I'm standing here with Dan Lund. Dan, welcome back to Ask Envision.
Thank you.
Excellent. We're going to be talking with Dan today about logging equipment finance and really what it means to get the very best rate and term possible for not only loggers brand new to the industry, but for loggers who have been in the industry for quite some time. So Dan, what are the ins and outs and maybe some of the pitfalls with regard to logging equipment finance in 2017?
Well, one of the main things that we look at is how old is the equipment.
Sure.
A lot of banks will turn their back on used equipment, but a lot of these loggers who have been out for a while, they need the used equipment. They can't go in and just get a $100,000 brand new piece of machinery with no time in business. It just doesn't work that way.
Correct.
So what happens is they go and they find a good deal on a well taken care of piece of machinery, and that'll help them get their business up off the ground. So we look at the used equipment, the new equipment, as well as how long they've been in business,
Sure.
and if it's necessity for the function of their business as well.
So a lot of variables. What, in your opinion and your experience, do people typically call, what's the biggest hang-up when it comes to getting approved?
Well, the biggest hang-up has been how long have they been around. Okay. A lot of loggers were around and flourishing, back when the economy was great, and then
Sure.
when the economy took a hit, they got out of the business. They started working for another company. They started doing other things. And then now that the work is back and they know that they can do it, they know they can make money on it,
Absolutely.
What they do is they say, okay, I'm going to get back into the business. So there's a couple of creative ways to get them approved, as far as, time in business goes and whatnot. But for the most part, if you shut your business down, even though you have 20 plus years experience in the industry, you're really a startup.
Correct. Makes
So
good sense.
you're only going to qualify for startup type programs unless you never really shut your business down and you kept it open. That's one way of getting around it. But
now, with regard to big banks, we field calls on a consistent basis for the logging equipment.
Yes.
What is it that Envision can do versus a big bank?
Oh gosh, a lot.
Okay.
Number one, a traditional bank is going to secure the piece of equipment by using your entire business. What that means is that if you default on that piece of equipment, they can shut your entire business down. A company like ours, we file a lien, of course, on the piece of equipment, and if you default, we want the equipment back.
Just the equipment.
Just the equipment.
Yep.
Another thing is that the used equipment the banks don't like. A third item is as far as qualification purposes go, they may ask for tons of tax returns,
Sure.
tons of income qualifying documentation, where a company like ours would extend money to $150,000 with simply just your signature and maybe a few bank statements.
Got it. So up to $150,000, no real heavy credit checks, things of that nature.
Yeah, your standard credit checks. We do look at personal history, we look at business history, we look at the value of the equipment. If it is a used piece of equipment, this is another important part, is we will also take that extra step for the logger and we'll say, okay, we'll do a little homework on this equipment as well. We would like a condition report, we would like photos. We want to make sure that they are not getting themselves into a lemon, although we can't promise the quality of the equipment. We do our homework on the seller as well as the equipment itself.
And you work with a lot of logging equipment vendors, resellers, manufacturers. You've been
Yes.
working with them for a long time, so you have a lot of trusted sources. You've done a lot of business with these companies before, so
Yes.
another feather in your cap with regard to we can do the homework for you, we can find the equipment sometimes for you, and of course, we have the unique programs so you can get financed as well.
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting point that you bring up, is that we've been really fortunate to have a lot of programs in this industry. So what that means is not only for the logger, But think about it, for the people who sell logging equipment,
Sure.
we could really help those guys.
Absolutely.
You know, because they get customers all day long, and the customers are tough to qualify. Maybe they need financing, they'd like to make the purchase now, but they don't quite have all the capital to do it. We have found great success, Wade, in helping out dealers, manufacturers, and resellers of this new and used equipment.
Got it. So you have let's say you've got a vendor on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for financing for their customers. What does that conversation kind of go like briefly?
Well, from us to the dealer standpoint, we
Correct.
do ask questions in regards to the history of the equipment.
Sure.
We do ask questions in regards to the history of the borrower.
Got it.
We're very hands-on.
Sure.
We like to call the borrower. We like to build that and form that relationship,
Yep.
and find out who they are, what they're looking for, what their history is like, what we feel what program they would qualify for. We'll even give them a ballpark range of payments to help them feel a little bit more comfortable as far as,
Makes
sense. Hey, I'm budgeting now. I don't know how much I can spend.
Yep.
We'll go through all of those steps before they decide if they want to move forward or not. We have no problems doing that.
So there's a lot of questions, a lot of information that needs to be uncovered.
Yes.
We're very thorough, yet at the same time easy to work with. We're quick. And I love the fact that we have the relationships that we have established in the logging equipment industry.
Yes, some people out there are tire kickers, right? They want to make sure they're shopping around, they don't know what to get and whatnot. And because we have depth in relationships, we can refer them to the experts. We're the experts in money. I'm not an expert at all in the equipment itself.
Sure, almost.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting there. But as far as the equipment itself, we make no representations about the quality of the equipment, but we could certainly get you in contact with a reseller or a dealer who we trust, who we've worked with for years, and they can have that conversation. We do that all the time.
Well, hey, thank you for the information. It's very much appreciated. If someone needs to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
My phone. Office line is 949-225-1718. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Excellent. Dan, thanks again for the information.
No problem.
And everyone, if you do have additional questions for Dan, of course, feel free to reach out to him. If you do have any logging questions with regard to equipment, he is an excellent resource. And if you're a logging equipment vendor, reseller, distributor, or manufacturer, we do have a very unique program with regard to Vendor 360, where we can help you fund more equipment, drive profits, and of course, build and maintain a loyal customer base. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice afternoon. Take care.
To stay on top of your game doesn't mean crowing about how good you stack up. It means doing it